Welcome to the News9 Plus Show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Uttarakhand could be the first state in post-independent India to get a uniform civil code, or UCC. The UCC has triggered off a nationwide political debate. But why? Joining me to discuss this today are the BJP's Shaina NC and Rashid Alvi of the Indian National Congress, and my colleague Ashok Bagariya in the studio. Mr. Alvi, welcome to the News9 Plus Show.
Thank you very much.
Why is the Congress opposed to the UCC in the form that it's being implemented in Uttarakhand today?
Actually, basically we do not know what is the draft of UCC.
Right.
And you know why BJP and all the governments, they are putting pressure on UCC, Uniform Civil Code.
Right.
BJP says there should be one law for everybody in the country. Today, there are 2-3 personal laws, Hindu laws, Muslim laws, Christian laws. There are 28 states. UCC is the part of concurrence list of the constitution, C list. Parliament can pass law in this regard, and all states, assemblies can also pass. You just let me know if every state, they are going to pass a different UCC. Today there are only 3 personal laws.
Yes.
Tomorrow it may be 28 laws.
Right.
And why do you want to change the Sharia? What I know, according to the media, they have banned halala.
Yes.
You just let me know first of all what is halala. Nobody knows what is halala. There is no provision of halala in the Sharia.
Right.
Actually, Islam doesn't like talaq at all.
Yeah.
That is the reason. They have put a condition. That condition, people are calling it is halala. Basically, it is not halala. Basically, it is a strict condition. Islam says if you divorce your wife, she can never come back with you. This is the condition.
Right.
And these people, they are unable to understand what is the halala. And they are putting so many conditions, UCC.
Yes.
So that is the reason we are opposing it.
Right. Mr. Alvi, I just want to bring in my colleague Ashok here. He's in the studio with me. Ashok, this point that Mr. Alvi raised, the fact that you have 28 states, is there a possibility that every state, if it passes its own version of the UCC, you could have a multitude of these uniform civil codes across the country?
Well, Mr. Alvi does have a point here, but it looks very unlikely that the 28 states, if they go in for UCC, will have 28 different laws.
Right.
There will be some degree of uniformity in the laws.
Yes.
Now, you have to understand that what is basically the idea behind bringing in a uniform civil code. Now, till a few years back, there was a problem between 2 fundamental rights.
Yes.
One is the right to equality of women, and the religious rights.
Yes.
Now, in India, institution of marriage, divorce, succession, inheritance, adoption, everything is governed by personal laws. Now, the argument there is that as far as personal laws are concerned, the government and the courts cannot interfere with it.
Right.
But when we had this important case of triple talaq, which came to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court was tasked with this difficult job of balancing 2 different fundamental rights, which is the right to equality, gender equality. Now, most of these personal laws with respect to marriage are pipped in favor of the men.
Right.
And women do not enjoy equal rights when it comes to marriage, when it comes to divorce, inheritance, succession, adoption, whatever it is. What is being attempted here by the state governments, various state governments are in the process of bringing in this law. They are trying to bring in a degree of parity between the 2 genders, men and women, so that they have equal rights in this very important aspect of their lives of marriage, divorce, succession, inheritance.
Right.
So I don't think there is a problem.
Yes.
But because mostly, I believe every state government has that bit of understanding that you cannot have different laws for different states. There, when it comes to gender parity or giving parity to the female gender in the equation, there can be no third way of looking at it.
Right. Mr. Alvi, this point that Ashok raised, the fact that, the spirit of all those laws is essentially going to be the same. It is to give women parity when it comes to male. And, the scales have been tipped heavily in the case of men. And we know that from the Shah Bano case of the 1980s, going back there. Given this background, I mean, why would you not want a UCC, for instance, in all of these
Shah
states?
Bano case is very rare case. First of all, I want to ask very simple question.
Yeah.
Why Article 44 is very important for Bharatiya Janata Party?
Right.
Whether there is only one article in directive principles, there are 15, 16 articles.
Right.
Very specifically, I think as I remember, Article 50 says there should be absolutely separate executive and judiciary.
Right.
Is it not important for the country? Why BJP is not giving importance to this particular article? There are 15, 16 articles.
Yes.
But you always talk about Article 44,
Article 44.
because you want to polarize this society just in the interest of your election. That is the reason. Everybody is talking about UCC. It is very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Constitution gives this right to everybody. You can follow your religion. I remember when I was practicing, I remember someone has filed a case of divorce. He was Hindu.
Yes.
And his age was 50 years. And when he got a decree from Supreme Court, he was 80 years old. Why are not giving thought to it? Why are you worried only about Muslim Shariat?
Right.
Why not about Hindu personal laws? You think about your personal laws. Let us think about our laws.
Right. So Ashok, there's
you
a point
are talking
that
about Muslim women. It is rubbish, absolutely.
Right. So this
because
point
you want to polarize the society.
Mr. Alvi is making about this it being the politics. In fact, that's what we are talking about. In fact, the political fallout of this fact that is it actually politics that's driving the government's decision to go ahead with the UCC? Is it more than just about equality of men and women?
Well, I think the government at the center and BJP governments at the state governments are possibly taking a cue from the Supreme Court verdict in the triple talaq case.
Right.
It will be wrong to say that an attempt is being made to polarize people on the grounds of religion.
Yeah.
Now, Islam is one religion in which the scales are very, very heavily tipped in favor of the men. When it comes to marriage rights, when it comes to adoption rights, when it comes to maintenance rights. What is being attempted here is to put them or give them, both the genders, the same level playing field.
Right.
Now, this is not an issue on which anybody can have a problem.
Right.
In the name of religion or even otherwise. Now, as far as polarizing thing is concerned, I don't understand. Why do the state governments where the Congress party has their governments, why don't they take such a similar similar step of bringing in UCC? What is so wrong about it?
Yes.
What is so wrong? I can agree that it's a debatable issue.
Right.
That it infringes on your religious rights. The basic argument here is that these issues of marriage, divorce, etc. are governed by our personal laws. And the courts and the government should keep away from this area. This is not a secular topic.
Yes.
But please understand, is right to equality not a secular and a laudable objective for any government, whether BJP, Congress or non-BJP Congress, which is in power, to strive to achieve? What is polarization in it? Now, let's take the instance of Uttarakhand. Uttarakhand process started in 2022. In fact, a committee was set up. There was large-scale public consultation which happened over a period of 1 year. Almost 60,000-70,000 responses were received by the committee on their suggestions for a UCC. Now, I do agree with Mr. Alvi on only one point. The point that is, we do not know what this draft UCC looks like. What are the subject matters? What are the topics it's dealing with? Is it dealing with live-in relationships? Is it dealing with runaway couples? Is it dealing with inter-religion marriages? What is happening?
What is happening, Mr. Alvi? Why is the draft not being circulated so far of the Uttarakhand UCC? You mentioned in the beginning of the show that if you haven't seen the draft, then what are we objecting about?
No, basically I have gone through whatever our media people, they have told me. But you tell me, if it is so important for the country, why BJP has its government in center, Bharat Sarkar? They should pass in the parliament. Why only in Uttarakhand? Why in Uttar Pradesh?
Why only in Uttarakhand? Why
not?
In Uttar Pradesh?
Why not
in
Uttarakhand?
Exactly.
And if, just 1 minute, if you are talking equality, just let me know, with due respect, I want to ask, whether there is same criminal laws all over the country. Every state has different criminal law.
Sir, they are basically amendments. We have.
Why you are talking about
we have central criminal laws, but the state governments.
You are unable to do that. You are talking only about this Article 44. First of all, there should be one criminal law all over the country. You can't do it. And what is happening here in Northeast? You never talk about Northeast. So this is purposely you are doing, and just before the election of the parliament you are doing it. And I remember when it was election in Karnataka, just before the election, every BJP leader was shouting, UCC. In Uttarakhand, it happened the same time before the election. It happened in Himachal Pradesh.
Ashok, this
basically Himachal Pradesh
what Mr. Alvi said,
Uttar Pradesh doesn't pass it. It is your political agenda, nothing else.
It's a political agenda, but like he said, Mr. Alvi mentioned the fact that why is it not being done in the center? I mean, ideally that would have been the way forward. Why would they not?
Whether the central government does it or not, the question is, tomorrow if the central government does it, there will be opposition. Today we have state governments who are stealing a march over the central government in implementing the UCC. What is the problem? I understand that political parties have different political agendas and goals to pursue. Now here is a political party in the state government or in the central government which wishes to pursue a particular political goal or an agenda. We cannot have a problem with it.
And it's well within its rights, you're saying. It's on the concurrent list.
We can have a problem if the state governments are usurping the rights of the central government. Now this is an issue which falls within the concurrent list. The states are competent to legislate on issues of marriage, divorce and other personal matters. So where is the problem? The problem can only happen, and again I say, when the objectives sought to be achieved are not in conformation with the rights given in the Constitution of India. Then there could be a problem. I can understand. But finding a fault with a government, any government, tomorrow Arvind Kejriwal could do it, tomorrow Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab could do it. They have their political goals, they have their own political ambitions to pursue. We cannot fault them for pursuing their goals. We cannot say that there are other things. Education is there, hygiene is there, access to water is there. These are other pressing issues. Why is the government not legislating on those issues?
Right.
Now, who can do it?
Interesting point, Ashok. What has been the Aam Aadmi Party stance on this so far, on the UCC?
As far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, they have kept a tight lip,
Right.
almost a very tight silence on the issue.
Right.
But I won't be surprised if tomorrow in Punjab there was a bill brought in to introduce uniform civil code.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if the Congress party feels that this has the effect of polarizing people and garnering vote,
Yeah.
then why should Aam Aadmi Party not pursue it?
Right.
As I said, even the Congress party can pursue it if it
Yes.
gets them vote. There's nothing wrong in pursuing
Right.
that goal. They can
Right.
go ahead and do it.
Right. Mr. Alvi, what will the Congress, what will be your strategy now, given that Uttarakhand is going to, pass this legislation?
They are in power. They can do anything. They have majority in assemblies. They have majority in parliament.
Right.
We can just protest. We can just criticize them. Nothing else. Now there is no democracy. Now whatever they want, they can do it. And with due respect, I want to say whether Prime Minister will say that UCC will not be passed in the parliament. Every state will pass it. No, he can't do it. And you know what is UCC in Goa?
Yeah.
It is lawful if
Right.
any couple doesn't have any baby,
Yeah.
husband, Hindu husband, not Muslim husband or Christian husband, he has right to remarry.
Right.
This is the UCC in Goa. And if after 10 years there is no male boy, then again he can marry. This is the UCC in Goa. Lawful. I am unable to understand our BJP colleagues, our BJP leaders. What is their thought? What is their ideology?
What happens
It
to
is
the,
different
Ashok,
kind
what
of
happens to this
UCC in
law
Goa,
of
different type
1867
of
in Goa?
UCC in Uttarakhand.
No, it
and
stays.
even then
Yeah.
they are supporting it.
Right.
They are arguing in favor of it. We are not in power. In case we get power, we come back to form the government. Definitely, we are going to change all this rubbish.
Right. And with that, we're completely out of time, gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us on this discussion on the UCC's political storm. Mr. Alvi, my colleague Ashok. That's a story we'll be tracking very closely as we head closer to the elections, and various state governments, as we just heard, are likely to pursue this uniform civil code to bring in equality between the sexes, men and women in India. Let's watch that story very closely. Nothing personal about it. Let's watch the story by Lakshna Gulati on how the UCC could actually make a difference to the lives of many women.
Why am I doing this story? Because it concerns me. As a woman, as a reporter, as it should concern you. My rights are what gives me dignity. But are my rights different from yours? If I belong to another religion in India, if I get divorced, or if my husband wants to marry again, or if I want to inherit my family's property, or if I want to adopt a child. I was too young to understand what Shah Bano was fighting for. But today, as a reporter, I went to Saharanpur with lanes like Shah Bano's Indore to understand why my rights and hers are so different, and why the debate on the Uniform Civil Code should matter to all of us.
Last December, the BJP swept to power in the three North Indian states of Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. Now it appeared that the BJP was now confined to the north, and the Congress, apart from a solitary Himachal Pradesh, had only Karnataka. And now this north-south debate has gained momentum, particularly in Karnataka, where a series of statements by top leaders have said that the state is being given a raw deal economically. Is there really a north-south divide, or is this a last-ditch opposition strategy to consolidate its power base in the south? Joining me to discuss this are my colleagues Kartikeya Sharma and Sudha Sadanand. Welcome to the News9 Plus Show.
Thank
Kartikeya,
you, Sandeep.
what's going on in Karnataka? Is Karnataka planning to break away from the Indian Union?
No, I think it's not about Karnataka.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of history to it. If you look at the Navnirman Andolan, if you look at when emergency was in force, the maximum protest took place in North India, and the joke was that once the emergency was over and the elections took place, the impact of that emergency never crossed beyond the Vindhyas.
Yes.
So Indira Gandhi ended up getting 190 seats from the south,
right.
And whereas the entire North India was swept by Janata Party, they got 281 seats,
right.
And Indira Gandhi had 190 seats. So this is when in the Congress lost a huge big election, its first election. So South has behaved differently when it comes to protests,
right.
or even national protests. Secondly, in 1971 and 1981, between that Indira Gandhi made a very historic decision. And that decision was when delimitation had to take place, Indira Gandhi, Indira Gandhi led Congress took the decision saying that we will not go for delimitation of Lok Sabha because it will work against the 4 southern states, because they are the one, this is between 71 and 81, they are the one who have actually implemented the family planning program, and just because their numbers are less in terms of population, they will lose representation there. So this feeling of representation in Delhi, secondly the way South behaved post 1977, and third the reality that the BJP is not in power in any of the South Indian states.
It lost Karnataka
5 South Indian states, has I think pressed home this idea to non-BJP parties that maybe they can galvanize themselves from the south.
Maybe they can galvanize themselves in the south. Very important point then. Sudha, as Kartikeya was mentioning, the first defeat of the Congress in 77, and what happens 11 months after that defeat? The Congress surges back to power in the states, in Andhra and in Karnataka. So that comes as a big boost, for the states, for the Congress in the states. But do you see this as part of a strategy like Kartikeya is mentioning, that we'll build from the south and build back up?
Yeah, cut from 70s to right now, what has happened is that it was particularly very visible, and it was visible earlier, like Kartikeya said, but it's become very stark and in your face, and nothing can obliterate it now. Also because of this entire dispensation, they seem to be more against Mr. Modi than anything else. So they actually make the mistake of replacing Modi with BJP and vice versa, as it were.
Absolutely. And Sudha, I'm going to interrupt you.
Sure.
Shaina is just joining us.
Okay.
Shaina, welcome to the News9 Plus Show.
Thank you.
Shaina, what do you make of these noises coming out of Karnataka, these very vocal protests saying that we're being given a raw deal, the South is being given a raw deal by the North, and does it have to do with the fact that Mr. Modi is virtually unassailable, it looks like, in the Lok Sabha polls?
So I think in a country as large as India, you're bound to have diverse opinions, and welcome to that. I mean, we can have so many people have echoing different sentiments, but the point and the fact of the matter is the Prime Minister currently is the most popular leader, not just in India, but world over, for reasons best known to all. You take the Labhartis, you take the welfare schemes that have percolated down to the poorest of poor. Having said that, the dynamics in the south and the dynamics in the north are also different, and we take cognizance of it, but there's no stepfatherly treatment given. There have been schemes, whether it's Ayushman Bharat, Ujjwala, Mudra Banking, Jan Dhan, infrastructure projects, which have percolated, and the south has also seen, because our vote share has only gone up. So I won't read too much into this.
Right, absolutely. And Kartikeya, this point of, the Congress saying, look, we've lost the north and, we're a party of the south and we've just got 2 states. I think it tends to mask the fact that the Congress did pretty well in the North Indian states. It may not have won the 3 states that we just spoke of, but it's got it's held on to its vote shares in all 3 states.
I think it's a reflex action. When Indira Gandhi lost 77, she went to south. When Sonia wanted to come in into the electoral politics,
she went to Bellary.
She went to south. So it's the reflex action of the Gandhis. But I would say, there's a south as one entity to be pitted against north. I don't think it's going to work. See, what has worked is the issue of regional pride, asmita. Like for example, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi worked his campaign around Gujarati asmita, it worked. Or for example, Naveen Babu's regional pride in Odisha, it works. Or when you work, or for example, Bal Thakre's Shiv Sena. It was on the regional Marathi pride. But I don't think that there is something called a South Indian constituency right now. And if you look at the voting pattern of Karnataka and Telangana, you realize that the Congress, when it made government in both the states, they cannibalized regional parties. Hindutva vote remained intact in Karnataka, it went up in Telangana. So what Congress did was to cannibalize BRS in Telangana and Deve Gowda's party in Karnataka. So I think the dynamic is very different. I would say that local matchmaking is going to work better than this larger scheme of things, the rubric they are trying to bring. For example, getting Sharmila to campaign. I think it's a better strategy in, working on a South pride. Because are you saying that it's against North? This sort of a politics is not going to pay dividends in Lok Sabha.
I think we are looking at the very larger picture. But I think as of now, it's about devolution of taxes. And Karnataka feels very cheated because, the devolution of taxes does not dovetail the performance of states at all. So Bihar and UP are right on top, whereas Karnataka, which pays a lot more, does not get its share of the pie. And they feel, and of course it all started with a very secessionist comment by DK Suresh, who happens to be an MP from Bengaluru Rural and also the younger brother of DK Shivakumar, Deputy Chief Minister, which I think is secessionist. But the point is, it's about it's about economics. It's not so much about this, that or the other.
China,
and so far as
Labharti being economics, the fact that what the Karnataka politicians are saying that, look, India's most populous province just contributes 56 paise to the national treasury, whereas in Karnataka it's 2 rupees and 12 paise. So do you think this rationale kind of works? Because it is a fact that the South Indian states are performing well economically.
If you take India in a toto, look at the numbers, look at the budget presented by the Honorable Finance Minister, which clearly shows we are on the path to only development, and development cannot be bifurcated as north, south, east, west. You take the northeast, for example, look at the infrastructure work that's happened there. You take the south, yes, of course, one takes cognizance of the innovators there, the contribution. And I think that if we as a country are discussing elections, then how do you determine what the voter is voting for? The voter is voting for stability, strong leadership, and good governance. That being the forte, any hue and cry can be some kind of legitimate voice of dissent, or it can be a propaganda politics. So 2024 is a done deal. Let's move forward.
2024 is a done deal, Karthikeya. Sabka saath, sabka vikas. That's what Shaina seems to be saying here.
See, there is no doubt that BJP is very happily placed. But in history, when you are happily placed, it's when the upsets happen. But I'm not saying that the upset is going to happen. BJP is very happily placed because there is no opposition synergy, and Rahul Gandhi is not the alternative. Actually, today, we have an opposition which does not have a prime ministerial candidate before the Lok Sabha election, which is, I think, akin to something in 70s, early 80s or 60s, when you really did not have prime ministerial candidates against the Congress party. But for me, the larger picture of this big press conference that got organized today with pomp and show, which was succeeded by a statement on we will have to make a separate nation because we are not being given our due. I think it's a considered politics. You see, for me this debate is it a spontaneous response or a considered politics? I think it's a considered politics on part of the Congress. It's like Bajrang Dal controversy during Karnataka. So it's a considered move. Now, whether this considered move is going to pay dividends or not, I don't know. But so it's not an impromptu move.
So it's basically for Karnataka only, this whole thing. It's only for
PTR Madurai, the ex-finance minister of Tamil Nadu.
Oh yes,
he had brought this up 2 years ago and almost had a direct confrontation with Nirmala Sitharaman. The entire issue is on cess. Now, if you say that cess should come into the common kitty, then perhaps, because you see, Nirmala Sitharaman says, okay, I don't pay you back what you pay me in accordance to that, but I'm using it for the infrastructural development. So, Karnataka says, for whose? Mine? UP's? Bihar's? Whose? So you need transparency in this. The process perhaps needs more transparency. And of course, Kartikeya is right that, and also what you said, Mr. Modi is a juggernaut, he is invincible. Right. But I think the South is going to get there and give him a good kind of competition. After all, what's a democracy if you don't have opposition, Sandeep?
What's a democracy if you don't have opposition?
Yeah.
Do we have an opposition, Kartikeya?
I think we have an opposition, but I think the larger issue is the opposition does not have a center of gravity. That's why.
Yes.
Congress has ceased to become a center of gravity.
No, and
yeah, but regional satraps, you cannot possibly
India
discount
Alliance,
them. All of them.
I mean,
no, India Alliance is pretty much, last leg.
No, but Mamta says that the Congress won't even get 40 seats.
Sure,
How
but
insulting
I'm talking
is that?
about in DMK is an alliance with the Congress in Tamil Nadu. But that's not true of Jagan, that's not true of, So the thing is that all these, look at Revanth Reddy, I mean, came back like a phoenix.
Yes.
All these people are regional satraps who are going to rise and have their own little fiefdoms.
Right.
And who knows what happens tomorrow.
Right.
So like I said, the South has pushed back. And Pinarayi,
yes,
more larger than life, Pinarayi Vijayan.
Right.
No doubt
what
about
happens
it.
tomorrow? I'm not sure what happens tomorrow, but I have a fair idea what's going to happen day after tomorrow, which is the census of 2031, which is the elephant in the room, which you're looking at after the delimitation exercise. The northern states are likely to see a 63% increase in Lok Sabha seats.
Yes, and which is again going to create this unfair, unjust treatment meted out to the South Indian states who've kept a lid on population control.
So this is what
they have.
That's a long
this
debate.
is something. This is a line which was taken by Indira Gandhi between 70s and 80s, and she was the one who did not allow for the delimitation to happen. Yes. So that is why I'm saying that it's a considered move. Party has a history on this issue, that their own late Prime Minister did not allow it. So I think the idea is that, well, whatever they have, let's ensure that we get a fair share of seats. Yes. And from there on, we can, start a journey back to Delhi.
Right.
But ultimately in 2004, the government was formed because of Andhra Pradesh.
Yeah, absolutely. That solid
in 80s,
block
people used
of
to say that,
votes
the road to Delhi passes from Lucknow.
Yes.
But between 2004 to 2014, the road to Delhi passed from Hyderabad.
Yes, that's right. And it was YSR Reddy who literally brought the Congress
Even
back to power.
Maharashtra mandate was fractured.
And yes.
But then see, Congress used to get a lot of seats.
Right.
Even Gujarat, they would get seats. In 2009, they got 21 seats from Uttar Pradesh.
Yeah.
So, they were getting seats here and there. But right now, the issue is that the polarization is not the word. The sort of saturation of seats for BJP is so high that you have no seat in Rajasthan, you have no seat in Gujarat, you have one seat in Madhya Pradesh.
Right.
That has created a problem.
Yeah, but then this whole government, Mr. Modi has done very well so far as perception is concerned. Yes. Perception becomes reality. The one thing that the South has achieved, and I'm not saying that, there's no comparison, they are odious, but then the point is that South is BJP mukt. Like they said, Congress.
Right.
So somewhere, some political mileage cannot possibly be discounted for the South.
I would just slightly differ. Yes, there is no government of Bharatiya Janata Party in South India. Yes, there is no presence of, BJP in Tamil Nadu. Yes, there is no presence of BJP in Kerala. Yes, but BJP's number remain intact in Karnataka.
Their vote shares are intact. Yes.
And BJP's number have gone up in Telangana election, which has gone into double digits. Yeah. So, I think that
building up slowly.
But also the G word is working, guarantees.
Yes. Modi
many carrots dangled as against Labharti or, Revdi or whatever one wants to call it. South always had welfare politics.
Yes, it began from the South, in fact.
Began.
Politics.
People say MGR. No,
Kerala.
Before that, Kamaraj.
Kamaraj, of course.
Midday meals for children.
I don't know. Maybe you guys are better positioned to answer this
because we're from the
query. Because Congress leadership is, I think, seen differently in South than it is seen in Patna, Lucknow.
Sure.
No, you're absolutely
Jaipur,
right.
No two ways about it.
Gandhinagar, Bhopal.
Totally agree with
I don't want to use those words, but I think you're getting the drift. Rahul and Sonia are seen differently in South than how they are perceived by majority of electorate in North India. I think difference lies there.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, the freedom movement also is perceived differently in the North and in the South.
Very different. Partition, there is no partition
there. There's
no
partition in the South.
So,
the South was
a major sliver of society, of history is eclipsed in the South. We don't know. Really, it happened. The masjid issue, for instance. it doesn't come to the forefront as it comes here, because there have been
I guess it's transmission and distribution losses. When you travel all the way down to the south, you know, it's like
it's a different
the messages
world,
kind of thing. It's a different world. Even who knows? And the politics of the north-south debate will continue as we head into one of the most interesting elections, or possibly of all time, since at least 1984, when the BJP is targeting over 400 seats. But thank you very much for joining me this evening, Kartikeya and Sudha.
Pleasure.
News and debates continue on the News9 Plus show. Thanks for watching.